All right, it's time for our annual fair video, this year featuring International. And we're gonna get started right after this. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Massey Man. This year is IH feature. So we'll start here and then we'll go around and look at everything. So starting here, we've got a Cub 1964. These, let's see, what would it be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9 of them are owned by the same guy here. There's a 140, and it is now the son-in-law that owns most of these. The father-in-law restored a lot of them, and then he is now living in the nursing home, I believe. So anyway, next generation has taken over most of the collection, and that's good to see because they will keep coming out here to the fair. And what I was going to say about them is the old guy who did this, he was very particular, and everything is just immaculate. I mean, when he fixed these up, he went through and did it the right way. So it's always good to see these out here. Yeah, I mean, there's a C 49C. That one I think was a family tractor. It says his dad bought it new 1949. So that's pretty cool. They still got it. 330 utility. I don't know how many they made of those, of the 330. I don't know. We got a 340. I think that's kind of an unusual tractor too. Anything of the smaller sizes like these. And I want to say, I don't know if it was this one or that 404 in a minute he said he got from down in Kentucky. I remember talking to him years ago. They went down there and got that. This one was up here all the time. That was another family tractor of theirs, and I was at the auction when they sold it non-running. I think it was locked up even, and they restored it. This might have been one of the last ones that guy, the older guy, actually restored. I don't know how that played out, but anyway, I know it was a family tractor and they fixed that one up, so that's pretty sweet. And then little 404, that's another one I don't think you see a lot of. 1964 model. There's a 504, all fixed up pretty nice there. And we have a MTA, Super MTA, another one of theirs from that same family, 1954. So they definitely brought quite a few, and he also brought some John Deere too, so we'll look at those when we're out there. But it's nice to see them out here. So some of them have been here for years and years and years. Like I said, the original guy had them and everything, so it's nice to see them still around and coming to the fair. The 1256, that's the same family too. Yeah. Okay, this tractor, the 1256, and that Super MTA were purchased in 2024 from an estate sale. And anyway, so those two are more recent to their collection, I suppose. But yeah, and that's neat if those two were from the same place. So yeah, there we have a Super M that was in the video of the show here at the fairgrounds in June. And as we learned, it has an L serial number, so it must have been made in Louisville. So another local tractor that's still with its family. And 1256, we've seen this multiple times on videos. Another tractor that he bought new. He sold it for a while and then he was able to buy it back and fixed it all up, and there we have it. One thing I noticed about this, which I don't think I've noticed before, was that it actually has super long axles. I mean, look at how long they stick out there. So it's got hub mount duals on really long axles, and I don't know, I wonder how long they actually are to have that much adjustment, but that must have been an option that you could get. And I imagine that some guys, after, if they kept the tractors after they weren't using them as their primary tillage tractor, I'd say a lot of those axles got cut off, because you definitely would hit a barn door or something if you didn't have the duals on, you weren't thinking about it. But that's pretty sweet. This 1206, this is the first year it's been here, and I don't really know the whole story on it, but I will say either they just got it done before the fair, or they keep it inside covered up, because there is not a speck of dirt or anything out of place on this tractor. I mean, it is perfect as far as the paint goes and clean. So I would say that they probably just restored it shortly before this fair. But and again, I've always said, if I had to have a red one, I think this is what I would want. I think those are slick tractors. 1206 with the flat top white fenders and the white wheel centers. I think that's a slick looking rig, and it's painted up pretty nice too. We'll go down this side. We have a Super H, which is fixed up nice, and I think, I'm not an IH guy, so I don't know, but I always heard Super H was a lot more rare than a regular H. They only made it a year or two maybe, so that's neat. And I think we actually have two of them here, so that's nice to see. Here we have a B Farmall. There we have all the beloved 1086. 1086. These guys brought several tractors here. Last time I saw this in the wild, I worked on the guy's round baler, which is almost like mine, and they had it hooked to this. And since then, he's painted it all up and looks nice. And here we have the little neighbor boys, M. We saw this in the video after that show. So he's got it out here. I don't know why his hood is. Is there a reason that that's not? I guess it's that way by design. But yeah, we saw it. We saw it at his house. And there is an all original Super H. And this tractor is in the same family too, I believe, that it's always been. And a sad story is, several years ago this was here, I mean many years ago, and it was all original, and he came back to get it and somebody stole the lights off of it and stole knobs off of the headlights and stuff. So that's kind of sad that have to deal with stuff like that. But at any rate, very, very nice tractor of a Super MTA. I'm not sure whose this is. I don't know if I've seen it before. It's got a little woe mark in it there when the old timers switched from horses to tractors. I remember years ago as a kid, you'd come here to the fair and you'd see a lot of old tractors with dents in the nose, because the old guy would buy a tractor and he wasn't used to having to push something to make it stop. You just yell whoa and it'd whoa. Anyway, I don't know that's what did that one, but I do remember that as a kid you'd see a lot of those, and when you got to asking about it, it was because they got run into something, because the old timer wasn't used to driving a machine. But we have seen this tractor before. It's here all the time. I see the sign now, so yes, another local tractor. This is another one we've seen before. It's on fire. That happened on the way to the fair, right out here on the road one year. I might have told that story once before. We were sitting here as people were bringing stuff in, and all at once saw these flames, and we ran out there with fire extinguishers and tried to put it out, and they took it home again and then got it running, and it's been like that ever since. It was a sad year on that story too, because that guy, he had just lost his granddaughter in an accident, and then trying to take the tractor to the fair, then ends up catching fire. So that wasn't a very good year, but anyway, the tractor's running again, and he's brought it several times to the fair now. So, but it's basically fixed up. I think it was for his grandkids. This is the way I understood it, but the ABJM, and that's the first letters of each grandson there. So anyway, good old M that's been here. There is a C, Farmall, and it's all fixed up. I'm pretty sure I know whose this is too. I don't see the sign on it, but pretty sure it's another neighbor down the road. And if I got that story right, his uncle had one, and then he thought he'd like to have one too here in later years, so he found this one and they fixed it up. And so it's not the one his uncle had, but it's just like it. Well, the camera's getting too hot, but here we have a 300 and plow, which I think we've seen on videos before, and this International truck, which are by the CT farm boy. His family owns this stuff. The tractor and plow are original to them. The truck is not the same one, but it's one like it. And they've had it at different places around here. They basically just clear coated the truck how it was, and so original paint, you know. But International truck, S110 series, and then 300 and that. So all right, I'll probably have to switch batteries because it's getting too hot, but then we'll go out and look at the other brands of stuff. All right, we'll go over here to the shade maybe.
Look at the tractor.
We have WD-45 wide front power steering. Pretty sweet. A 210. This is a neighbor. He's got an Allis-Chalmers collection. We need to go over there sometime if he will let us and tour his collection. But that's fixed up pretty nice. There's another WD-45 wide front power steering. And there's a WD diesel wide front. Those are kind of neat. You see how they 6-cylinder diesel, so they had to extend it out, so your frame, you don't have that stick out piece. Everything is over the front like that. I don't know what exactly they did. Maybe you could only have these as wide front. I don't know. But interesting. Mini dozer. There's a rain drive tractor. County tractor. They've got several of these. Well, we're in that fun time when the camera keeps shutting off because it's super hot outside, so we'll do the best we can. There we've got a 40 John Deere back there holding the tent down. We've got a 420 crawler. People keep asking why it's red, and the best answer I could give you is that's probably what the highway department ordered it like, or a construction company. They said when they stripped it down, red was underneath, so that's what they painted it. There's the Muir Hill, basically another one that uses a Ford power unit, and they made it into an articulate, or not, I guess they're not really articulated tractors because they steer with the front axle, so they're rigid. They're just four-wheel drive and they steer, so take that for what you will. But pretty interesting to see some here at a local county fair, you know. We'll just go as long as the camera will let us. We might have to take a break, but here we have a 1955, which is not from these parts. I don't know whose it is. I just know he called and asked if he could bring it. So, nice front wheel assist, 1955. We have my 1365, which I see everything along the fence is getting covered with dust. That's okay though, they've been dirty before. Yeah, I mean, this one is a local tractor because it's mine, but it's always been here. It was at the fair when it was new. And the two sons of the original owner have both said something to me, because they said, "Is that Dad's tractor?" And I said, "Yep, it is." And one of them said, "I had to sit on it." He said, "I haven't been on that for years," and we hauled loads and loads of silage with it. So anyway, that I thought that was neat. They both got to see it, so that's good. Anyway, I should have started filming earlier because now there's so many people around, it's going to be hard to hear anything. But here's the little 1250. It made it. Boy, it's dirty. I mean, being next to the road, I guess that's what we get. But yeah, it made it. And a little 60. And a 66. You've seen those all before though, so we can move on. This 88, which is fixed up super nice. Again, the only thing that bothers me is that thing is backwards. That is supposed, the other end is supposed to be on the pipe, and whatever. It'll still work that way, I suppose. It's a recent restoration in the last couple years, and it's really nice. The guy who painted it does excellent work. Here's a Blackhawk 35. That is another tractor that's a family tractor. It's the guys own it. It's got the same engine, I believe. Yes, a Geo 198 that's in that 550 that I'm working on right now. So, same engine, just a totally different tractor that it's in, you know. I always heard like the 35 was the same physical size as a 40, but it has a 4-cylinder engine instead of the 6-cylinder Buddha, so it became a 35. We have a 4020. That looks, I don't know if that's, is that original? It might be original. It was purchased new, so it's in the same family, but I don't know if that's original paint or not. But it's definitely in good shape, and it would have been in a lot of use because it was on a dairy farm. 1955, 2-wheel drive. It was here last year, I believe, and it is owned by the same family as the family that owns this. They watch all the videos, so shout out to them. We got the 1155 V8, big V8 Perkins. And then we have a 770, which that's been in their family for years and years. I guess it'd be the grandpa bought it new. you know, but it's in the same family, so it's good to see it here. It hasn't been here for several years. We have a WD-45 and a snap coupler planter. That's pretty cool. You don't always see a planter, you know. His blade is not very tight. That's kind of, yeah. But anyway, that's been here at different times. Well, we'll jump around because of people walking around, so hopefully we don't forget anything in the video. But load of garden tractors. The same guy who owns that snap coupler planter brought all these. We've got a Simplicity and the 920 diesel, a B10, a 410, Big 10s, B10s. Pretty good selection of what they made. B1, that was the first one. We have a 210, all original. That's owned by the guys who own the shop where I used to work. That's a pretty nice tractor, really. I mean, all original. They found it in a barn and drove it home. Got it running and drove it home, I should say. There's an Allis bush hog. Those were super rugged. Lots of people like those. Behind their D15, which was bought as a basket case, and they totally went through it. But it's a worker. I mean, they use it all the time, so it's been a lot of years since they fixed it up. And here we got a Farmall H American road equipment grader. That's pretty neat, because that's something that probably got scrapped right away, and you just don't see a lot of people who take the time to fix it up. So that's pretty cool. I mean, I couldn't tell you where to find another one of those. So that's neat that it's here. Let's try to jump back over here now where we were. Let's see, we were over here. We'll come back and get these. WD-45. Here's the little neighbor boy 60 John Deere. A 630. All restored. That's owned by my cousins. They combine for me sometimes. They got these next few 70 gas. That's a pretty sweet tractor. They've got a 70 diesel, but they started working on it and didn't get it finished painted before the fair, so I guess it'll be next year before we see that one. There's an all original 520. That's been here before. He had a loader on it. He took it off, but they have a loader for it, original. Pretty sweet. And a 720. That's theirs too. It's another one. I think they've got a different nose. I think their plan is they're going to re-restore it at some point, but they got others that are, you know, ahead of it in line. So, but it runs good and looks pretty good, so they just keep using it. Here's a 630 owned by the guys who had those internationals up there I was telling you. A 630, and then he also has a 620 that's all fixed up. I think that's his 620. That might be someone else's. I don't know for sure on that. But and then we have this B John Deere, which has been here for years and years. It's owned by the same family. The ones who own that road grader and that Cockshut 35. It's the same. But yeah, camera's getting too hot, so same group as the others. I forgot this one a minute ago. Here's the little 50 Massey Ferguson that we worked on the other day. So I was hoping we'd get more tractors and fill out this row, but didn't happen. But it made it. So that's good to see. Oh, we'll go over here. Massey Harris 44 Special. I'm pretty sure that was a family tractor of his. Have to talk to him and find out. This 44, that was Dad's neighbor. It lived right across the road from us growing up. So it's been here many years. I think the last thing I did with it was tractor pulling. That's why it's got the big tires on it. So, and we have this WD-45, which is now back in the hands of the original family that it came from. But that tractor's seen a lot of use in its day. There's one of those CAs with that, what is it, a Thompson conversion, high crop conversion. You don't see those every day, so that's pretty neat. Sits up about, I don't know, a foot taller or two than the others. The offset Ford. We've seen that. I think that's a neat little tractor. Just something different. Probably sold a lot of them in tobacco country. The gold 871. That's another cool one you probably don't see very often. Selecto Speed. We have an 800 Ford. We have a Ferguson 35. And I don't know the story on that, but I think he was telling me that there was only a few that had that color scheme, maybe. The metallic-y dark green and gray. I don't know. Pretty neat. And this WD-45 wide front, owned by a friend of mine. He fixed it up. He owned one of those other ones that we just looked at, and that family wanted to buy it back, so he sold it to them and they bought this one and fixed it up. It's got power steering, wide front. That's pretty sweet. Here's a 44 Massey Harris. They had quite a few Massey Harris in their collection. I don't know if they still have them all or not. And we got an F40 Ferguson. That's kind of an unusual thing. Unusual color. I think they also sold them as a Massey Harris 50. And then they were painted red. But interesting. Here we have a, I think, Jubilee Ford, just like mine. No, this one would be like a, it's just an NAA. So in other words, it's the same tractor, just not a 1953 model year. 740 tricycle. And a 960 tricycle, complete with all the weights, high weights in the wheel and weight box up front. Those are pricey when you go to try to find a set of those. Here's an 880 diesel. Belongs to my neighbor. I think they just bought that on an auction here about a year or two ago. So there's that. And this 70 row crop. Old style 88 standard. Pretty neat. And a 77 with a single front wheel. All right, well, I think that pretty well covers the tractor display this year. I usually make this video in two parts just so it doesn't get so long that you can't sit and watch it at once. But I think attendance is down with the tractors this year, but it's still a respectable number. I know a lot of places you go, they only have 15 or 20. I would guess they're somewhere around maybe 75 here. Maybe not quite. We'll have to count. You watch the video, you can figure out how many there are. But definitely last year we were knocking on 100. So at any rate, like I said, it's still a respectable turnout and a lot of stuff that, I mean, you don't go to every show and see some of this stuff. There's a good variety is what I'm trying to say. It's not just, you know, 25 of the same thing. So that's always good to see too. And yeah, it's a fun time. Next year I think the feature will be Allis-Chalmers, so we'll see how many of those can get crammed up in here. But until next time, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.